listening to Braves Country. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch by pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines 2 of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon. And this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Here are some clips from today's press conference with the physicians caring for Damar Hamlin's health. We'll have more on this as the show goes on.
It just speaks really to the immediate recognition that there was something significantly and seriously wrong by the Bills medical staff. Team and I speak together. We cannot credit their team enough. There are often, unfortunately, there are injuries occasionally that happen on sports fields, be it football or others. But it is incredibly rare to have something be this serious that happens like that. And to be that quickly recognized, what they did was immediately marshal the emergency action plan, meaning the emergency medicine services. That prompted the airway physician, the emergency physician that was out on the field, to be at his bedside in less than a minute. He had a prompt recognition of loss of pulse, which gave him immediate bystander CPR, which, as many of you know, rarely, if ever, happens. And so the fact that Mr. Hamlin had immediate bystander CPR, in addition to prompt recognition of his arrhythmia, to get defibrillated and then back to the return of circulation very quickly, that speaks to that timeline that you were asking about, to get the return of spontaneous circulation with immediate bystander CPR that was performed well, all meeting the standard of what we would expect in that scenario, is what has led us to be able to discuss these good outcomes today.
I will second that. You know, the Bills training staff who was with him immediately recognized that this was not a run-of-the-mill injury and that they had a significant event on their hands, and immediately responded and got the emergency response team involved in his care. And really, this went as well as something like this could go under very challenging circumstances. And they did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Pritz, I just want to follow up on something you said, that Damar spoke last night. Can you speak to that?
I can clarify. He did not speak. He was able to communicate in writing. And he is unable to speak with us yet, as he still has a breathing tube in, and we're still assisting him with ventilation. So when he was communicating with us last night and then again today, that's been in writing. And to paraphrase one of our partners, when he asked, "Did we win?" the answer is yes. Damar, you won. You've won the game of life, and that's probably the most important thing out of this. And we really need to keep him at the center of everything else that's going on, and we really want to ensure a good outcome for him.
One thing in that protocol that would not have been in place, whether it was equipment or might not have worked, or a personnel or so forth, what would that one thing have been that could have led to a more, tragic outcome? Because I think we're all realizing that the NFL does a lot of pre-planning for these kinds of situations. I'm just curious to get your take on that.
I'm not sure there is one thing. I think that really speaking and emphasizing to that team approach, that if you see those pictures in that video of the congregation of the team, you had Bills professionals, Bengals professionals, independent physicians, but we have all the right equipment. There's all the EMS equipment, airway equipment, advanced cardiac life support equipment, the ability to do CPR, the ability to defibrillate is all there and all spelled out in terms of accessibility. Speaking specifically to our team, we had several of my partners that were teammates, that were partners, that were helping to resuscitate Mr. Hamlin. And you have those scenarios where people know each other and they train together. There's not a lot of speaking that needs to happen. They know how to work. They know how to integrate, no different than when Dr. Pritz and I are working in the trauma bay that you see. And that really goes a long way to helping with that in terms of that overall management. But was there one thing, or is there one thing that, if absent, would have led to a poor outcome? I can't say that there was any one thing, because it really is the entire global spectrum of care from the minute he collapsed until the ongoing care he's receiving right now up in the ICU. We're focused on the right now, and he still has a little ways to go in terms of, he was not trached on the field. He was intubated on the field, had a what I would deem a textbook resuscitation on the field, from, again, immediate bystander CPR, defibrillation, airway management, and then transport to the hospital. It's critical that we do that resuscitation at the scene of where a cardiac arrest is. That portends the best recovery. There was no trach or airway other than the endotracheal tube that he has. As for the long-term recovery, again, we're focused on the right now, and he still has a little ways to go in terms of liberation from the ventilator, and I think that's going to be our focus right now in terms of helping him to recover, liberate, continue to get stronger, and rehabilitate. But it is entirely too early to project into the future.
And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com @Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Armor Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pump. Really? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Inflation sucks. Got a pay raise, and my check went down. Let that sink in.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Damar Hamlin's doctors said the lights are on and he's home. That's the best damn news we've gotten in a long, long time.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country HD, wherever you stream in Braves Country on WQEE 99.1 FM, alongside Mac McGee. Alongside Justin Waller, excuse me, I'm Mac McGee. Justin, how the hell are you, my friend?
I am doing great, Mac. 2022 is long gone, and here's to a happy and successful 2023 to everyone and all of our listeners.
Amen to that. And the press conference that you just heard, I took clips of it. I apologize, I couldn't do it justice, but the gist of it is, and if you miss it, we're going to play it again at the top of the next hour. The gist of it is Damar Hamlin's doing much better. He's still a long way to recovery. And I did take some notes that I'll respond to later on with it, but some of the just idiotic questions that some of these reporters asked Justin, you're like, my God. And most of them would sit there and tell you that they're working for X, Y, or Z, either news company or television station or whatnot. And you're like, how does this person get hired? What was one of the first ones that I wanted to hit off with? I'm not sure what I do with my notes, but we'll get to it in a second. But one of the ones that sticks out to me is one of the reporters asked the doctors if Damar Hamlin would and when could he play NFL football again? I'm like, dude, would you pump the brakes on trying to cover the spread this weekend for getting Damar Hamlin in the lineup? Like, what are we talking about? The guy just almost lost his life. Can we focus on that and the fact that he's breathing and they're saying that the lights are on and he's home, meaning he's responding? He isn't talking yet, but that's because they have the tube down his throat. What he has been able to do is write down on the pad. One of the things that I had to put in the clip that I'm sure a lot of you heard was that one of his first questions he asked when he came out of the induced coma was, did we win? He had no idea that he'd been gone for 2 days, right? That he'd been out of, realistically, it's almost 3 days, but he had no idea. He thought maybe he just got knocked out and wanted to know if the Bills won. So that tells you something about that kid. And hopefully this is the beginning of a great recovery.
Yeah, pretty insensitive question. Let the man get out of ICU and let him get to his actually own house first, and then start worrying about that. Let him decide whether he wants to play football again or not. He can announce that to us when he feels like it.
I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on the radio. My thing is this. The guy is breathing and living and thinking, and actually evidently didn't have, we all feared, like massive brain damage and whatnot. And what the doctor said today was that the medical staff, they're on the field for the two NFL teams, the Bengals and Bills, did a great job to basically prevent a lot of the complications that could arise. Now, look, they're still a long ways away from knowing exactly what the damage is done. But the fact that he was responding and he's writing on a pad and with a pen and a pad, being able to respond to people, that's miraculous. I thought it would be a long time before we heard that he was able to, respond and whatnot. So, but some of the dumb questions, I'll go ahead and knock them out real quick. One of the reporters, she asked what kind of condition he had that led to this. First of all, that's that man's business, right? Ever heard of HIPAA laws, right? You can't just reveal someone's medical information. But the other thing is, it's too early for the doctors to even fathom to even know. They might have some educated guesses over beers when they're not sitting there being interviewed by millions of Zoom calls, right? But my word. And then the other one, this is the one that took the cake. One of the reporters asked if the medical care was detrimental to his health. Now, obviously he meant something else, but the doctor instantly stated, "I don't know how detrimental it was. I just stated how great that the care was." And he said, "Maybe you're talking about if in." He tried to fill in the blanks. I couldn't figure out where the guy was going with that question, but they obviously did a fantastic job. Bengals and Bills, and of course the local Cincinnati hospitals. And for that guy to say detrimental, like, dude, maybe you need to Google what things mean before you say them.
Absolutely. Let's worry about getting him stable and not worrying about what caused it. And at this point, those things usually happen secondary to stabilizing the patient. But again, I play doctor on radio, so what do I know?
I just some of the questions were very good and on point, and but those were the ones, and I didn't catch the entire press conference because I had to start recording and clipping and put it together for the show, right?
And kudos to the coaching staffs of both teams, for making decisions to, I think it was said that McDermott needed to, Taylor came out and said that he just felt he needed to be, or the first thing that McDermott said to him was he just needed to be there beside his bedside. He just couldn't be where he was. So, it just says a lot about the players, the organization, and the teams themselves. It's just a game. And let's remember that a man about lost his life for a game to entertain us.
And then you get into all these conspiracy theories on what caused them. Like, can we stop it with that nonsense? Yeah. If you want to put your tinfoil hat on it, do it sometime in the summer, right?
Yeah.
Can we just root for the man to live, for his family to have their son? I don't know all of his details, but if he's a father, if he's a husband, a boyfriend, whatever. Can we just root for people in his life to have him back and not worry about all this other nonsense and conspiracy theories on what could have caused it? I mean, it's like, oh my God. And it didn't take long. As soon as you get into the dumpster that is Twitter, here it comes. All the questions on what caused it and what the NFL could do differently and what. And I'm like, dude, they've been playing football a long, long time. This is the first time I've ever seen this. So,
I mean,
anyways.
Look at the safety equipment and the way it's changed over the time. I'd say that the league has stayed with it and tried to be relevant. Well, except for that little CTE portion. My bad.
Yeah, well, but at the same token, I don't think
anybody knew what they were dealing with then either.
They had no clue what CT. We didn't know what CTE even meant 20 years ago, right?
Right.
If you'd asked me about CTE, I'd be like, man, I didn't take it. I took the SAT and the ACT, and I have AT&T. So yeah, it's just people always want. And I was talking about it earlier this week with some of the other things that have gone on because of the Damar Hamlin injury and the way people have reacted, and everyone wants to jump on the got you moments, right? And they want to got you with the NFL. Considering the fact, and they spoke to it quite a bit, that those physicians were impressed on not just the equipment, but also the protocols that the National Football League had. So they may not have thought of this specific incident, but they were ready for similar incidents. And it saved Hamlin's life, most likely. And I think most definitely, without a doubt, it's saved his quality of life. So,
absolutely.
Anyways, we move on. We are going to do the Armchair Awards today. I just wanted to get that stuff out of the way. We got time to go ahead and squeeze one in here. So let's go ahead and do it. Who is let's start off with the favorite game of the year.
No.
Oh, and by the way, it kind of goes without saying, we're giving Damar Hamlin the Armchair Quarterback of the Year. We give it to someone every year. It goes without saying. We're not going to wait till 2024 to give it to him because it technically happened in 23. He gets the Armchair Quarterback of the Year, and we're not even going to debate that. What was your favorite game of the year?
October 15th, 2022. It was 15 years in the making. UT takes down Bama, 52-49.
I kind of figured that that might be where you were going.
And I don't know if I've ever shared this with you or not. I can't remember, but my nephew was born that night, about 9:30 at night. About the time the celebration kicked off, I think the rumble in East Tennessee may have shook Mama into labor, and my nephew Sutton was born. So 10-15-22 will be cemented in my memory forever.
Yeah, mine. So I realistically have two because I had to go back and think about all those games that I did with Braves baseball this past year. And the one that I actually did was actually the night before the one that I'm going to reference. And the one that jumps on me that I'm referencing is the 4-2 win the Braves had against Scherzer, where they got 4 earned runs against Scherzer. But I guess I probably, and the reason why that one stood out to me, first of all, they got 4 earned runs by Scherzer. I love the fact that during that game, if y'all remember, Olsen had 2 RBIs, Dansby had 2 RBIs. Dansby hit a 2-run home run, but in between that, it was sandwiched in between Olsen going the other way, beating the shift on just a dribbling single to tie the game up at 1, and then later on, while they were up 3-2, he hit a bomb over the wall against Scherzer. But I guess if I had to pick one, it'd be one that was actually on the air doing it. It would have been the night before, September 30th, beating Jacob DeGrom. DeGrom went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, and the Braves that night sent Max Fried out to the mound. And remember, that's the one where he got sick and was throwing up in the trash can and whatnot. But he went out and still found a way to get 5 innings, 1 earned run, only 4 hits. And that was another Matt Olson home run night where Matt Olson just really took that entire weekend over. And of course, what happened with that? It ended up giving us we ended up catching the Mets, and it made it where our magic number was 1, and all we had to do was beat the Marlins, which we didn't beat them the first game on that Monday, but we did beat them the second game on that Tuesday. And though I did that game, I didn't pick that one because it was the Marlins. It's like, you're like, and it really wasn't that exciting of a ball game. It was a really boring ball game. As a fan, I probably have to go to Florida State beating Florida this year, 45-38. One of the best college football games of the year.
Yeah, I remember the DeGrom game. I'm happy. Usually, as a Braves fan, I'm hoping we miss him in the rotation when the series rolls around. But to actually get 3 earned runs, I remember just being ecstatic about that. Finally breaking through and getting to DeGrom was that was a nice one.
Yeah, especially when he goes 6 and gives up 3. But more importantly, when we lose Max Fried after the 5th inning, you see him yakking in the trash can, you're like, oh, my word. I mean, is this just – it always happens to my teams. Why do I always have to have my guy go down? Meanwhile, and somehow we got to him. And then we get to Scherzer the next night and then put a stamp on it by beating Chris Bassett on that Sunday night game. And if everyone remembers – all the Mets needed was 1 win in that series, and they would be the NL East champions. And though it was in Atlanta, it was huge to sweep them with their 3 best starters. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, favorite athlete of the year, there ought to be a law, jerk face of the year, and much more. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Awards, Braves Country HD. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
What about Kelso? I mean, Jackie has him totally whipped.
Ribbed like the family pig.
I am not pig whipped. It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Like, I don't like winter. Like, I don't like winter. Like, I hate winter. Like, I'm originally from North Carolina, and like, look, I hate winter so much, I'm for global warming. I am voting for it, marching for it. I might start buying people SUVs. I don't care. Ladies, start using hairspray again. No ozone. That's our goal. And see, there's people with me, but there's always a couple of crunchy granolas sitting around. Crunchy granolas sitting there thinking, but the polar ice caps are going to melt and we're all going to flood. No, we're not. We're not all going to flood. We're only losing Rhode Island, Long Island, and Jersey. Bye-bye.
Armchair.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves country, with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com @Braves Country.
Yeah, the armchair quarterback. He's kind of fun and he's kind of fat. The all-American man. With a cool one in his hand.
We are back. Armchair Awards going down here. And for those folks that might be a little confused, Braves Country, we're here on Armchair Quarterback Radio. Been doing Armchair Quarterback Radio for Justin. We're going to begin our 10th season soon. Believe that? And yeah,
time flies.
Time really drags when you're. But we've been doing this from, I believe, year one. We've been given the Armchair Awards. And we don't always have the same awards given out, but we like to have a little more fun with it. And we already did the favorite game of the year. Who is your favorite athlete of the year?
I'm going biased on this one. I'm going Hendon Hooker. I hated to see that. He brought back an excitement to my state, my community, my friends that we haven't had in a very, very long time. It's been a brutal decade and a half, and to have that excitement in the season that we have, I hate to see that he went out injured in the South Carolina game. I truly believe he would have been in contention for the Heisman and been a finalist, been up there, but it didn't happen that way, and that's okay. He gave me what I wanted, and that was to beat Florida and beat Alabama in the same season, and sir, he did it.
Yeah, it's a shame that he'll probably be going to the NFL, but man, what a season he's had. And I'll tell you what, after watching that Orange Bowl game, and I'm assuming Milton's coming back. I know in theory he could leave, but he doesn't have enough of a resume, I believe, to go to the NFL, and he's got a year of eligibility left. I don't think that Tennessee offense is going to slow down.
I don't either. I think they'll look a lot better. And you put Hyatt out there, and you give him some of the weapons he didn't have in that bowl game. I think Milton, he learns how to control that cannon he has, because there's no doubt that the young man has got unbelievable arm strength. It's just learning a little touch and finesse, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does with an off-season workout and with these receivers, because it looks like he had confidence in that game, and I mean, Clemson's not a scrub. It wasn't a nobody he was in against.
Yeah, I don't think I could pick a college football player that I would push out. If it was anyone off the Florida State roster, it would probably be Benson. If it was the Georgia Bulldogs, I would say it's got to be Stetson Bennett, because it just seems like that guy's always listening to a lot of smack talk and everyone saying that he's not very good and all he does is win. I'll tell you what, that Dugan's pretty darn good too for TCU. But I'm going to go Money Mike Harris for the Atlanta Braves. And there's so many Braves players that we obviously all love to watch. But he brought an electricity this year. And look, I'd read all about it, and I'd seen him a few times in minors, but to actually see him supplant himself in center field, which is one of my favorite positions, that right there jumped out at me. And you felt like for the first time since Andrew Jones, you've got a guy who's going to play center field for the next decade.
I agree. As a Braves fan, I'm excited about it. Love seeing all of our young talent this year, but no qualms with Harris. Sorry, I had Grissom on my mind.
He's you hope he's not as flash in the pan, mainly because we just locked him up for a decade. But but I think all the new younger players that we have, and it's hard to pick your favorite, but he was my favorite to watch this year. Just some of those defensive plays that he made. I went back when I was trying to figure out which game I wanted to talk about is being my favorite Braves game. And one of the reasons why the one that I didn't actually broadcast, but the one the following night, man, he made a couple of plays, one at the wall and one where he just reminded me so much of Andrew Jones, where he just stole a single. And he did that kind of stuff routinely all year long. And I know there was a couple of plays that he didn't make where the ball bounced out of his glove, and he blamed himself. I'm like, whatever, dude, you're on a dead run, and you don't catch a ball that's exit velocity around 100 miles an hour. Everyone's going to have to chill with you should have got it.
A tight end drops just thinking about running that fast to catch a ball.
Yeah, look, if a tight end drops a check down pass from 5 yards out, and he's wide open in the end zone, that's you should have got it. But a guy running up against the wall and climbing the wall like Spider-Man and the ball pops out of his glove, that's not you should have got it. The next one. Here's some of the more fun ones. Jerk face of the year. Who are you giving your jerk face of the year to?
The 5 cheaters on the World Series that remain of the Houston Astros. I want to give it to the whole organization, just the Astros in general. I'm still upset. They tarnished America's game and my favorite sport, and I'm still not over it.
Does one of them make your skin crawl more than the other?
The little one. I won't even say his name.
Altuve?
Yeah. I mean,
that I really hold responsible that I really don't like is Correa. And it's probably because shortly after the whole incident and that leading into I guess it was the 2020. Yes, it was the 2020 spring training right before COVID hit and they had to shut it down and all that. So this is before we all knew that was going to go down. And there was the big controversy where he was arguing back and forth and getting quoted and basically not backing down from the fact that, I mean, there's no other way around it. He lied through his teeth. And so I guess maybe I just like watching Altuve play more than I do Correa. I think he's a jerk. But my jerk face of the year is Buck Showalter, the Mets manager. And the reason why I say this is, and the Braves better start paying attention, this guy will twist any single rule to get an advantage. And I'm not saying he's necessarily cheating, but you better be aware of what he's willing to do to go the extra distance. And I cannot stand Buck Showalter. And I think he's going to wear his welcome out in New York eventually, like he did the first time. But right now, he's my jerk face of the year.
Wasn't he the one that left Zach Britton in the bullpen?
Yes, with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Now look, I always thought
you better not do that in New York.
Right. I always thought he got a raw deal with the Yankees because he was the manager of the Yankees right before they went on their run with Joe Torre, right? And he basically built them up. And the only reason why he got fired by the original Steinbrenner was because Steinbrenner wanted him to basically fire all of his coaches, and he stood up and said, I'm not going to do that. This team's on the way, and I'm not going to fire all my coaches. This was right after if you remember the Seattle Mariners doing the walk-off in the ALDS, I guess it was, Game 5 against the Yankees, when Griffey came running all the way around that double in the corner, and he scored. So this was right after that. So I always respected Showalter because of that. But now I watch him, man. He will do the dirtiest things to get the upper hand. And most of them are legal. But that doesn't make them right. So I got a feeling I'll be revisiting him next year, Jerk Face of the Year. There ought to be a law. What rule would you like to be in place, or rule taken out, or something? Something in the world of sports. There ought to be a law against X.
I towed the line with this one, releasing a pothead for the Merchant of Death. It's sports related. There ought to be a law against that. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Think of that one. That's a funny one. That is.
I mean, you shouldn't be able to do it. Ought to be illegal. I think it was illegal. That's why they both were in jail.
Oh, well.
Excuse me. They weren't even in jail. It was prison. And that is two totally different categories. Friends told me.
The irony is, I bet his prison was a lot more comfortable than her prison, right? That's the irony of the whole thing. I'm going to try to steer it back into the lines again, and this is just in general. This isn't necessarily picking on the New York Mets, but there ought to be a law against the spending of the Mets. There's got to be more than just a tax. There needs to be a salary cap. And I know the players union fights against it because they say that the owners won't spend. But I also say there ought to be a salary floor. And it would make the sport much better if one team could only spend X amount, but every team had to spend Y amount, right? You wouldn't get the Oakland A's going against the New York Mets at some point this season. They're going to play, and the Mets' entire roster or salary is going to be about $300 million more than the Oakland A's. And so there ought to be a law against that.
I agree with you. I mean, to make mine serious, I would say, I want to see the salary cap enforced in baseball, or the luxury tax, whatever. It's got to cost a worthy enough draft pick that teams stop just payrolling whatever, because there's no penalty for going over. There's really not. And to your point, I want to see everybody spend the league minimum. I think it ought to be mandatory and be competitive across the board.
I am so sick of blank in sports.
I'm so sick and tired of Todd Downing. Shouldn't that DUI after the Green Bay game have had him suspended so we could have turned our season around? I mean, Titans have struggled.
That is putting it lightly. Do you give them an honest chance to win this weekend?
I do. I think you saw enough spark in Dobbs that the offense can move the ball. They gave Henry a week of rest, gave the line some rest. So Jaguar Daddy's coming to town, and we're going to see if the King can cut loose. Now they got us here at home, so we'll see if the Titans can return the favor in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's playing good. I mean, I expect a great game, but I think you're going to see some offensive output, and it won't be the typical 13-point production out of this offensive unit you've been seeing.
I really think that line is way too high. I've already taken it, off air, right? When I saw it creeped to 7.5 at one point yesterday morning. Now it's gone back down 6.5. Some books have it at 7. But I don't understand why Jacksonville is that. You look at that first game, a lot of things went right for Jacksonville, and a lot of things went wrong for Tennessee. And I can't assume that that's going to happen 2 times.
Well, hopefully you don't have 4 turnovers. I mean, you eliminate the turnovers, and I think you have a competitive ball game.
Turf when he never puts the ball on the turf. Not to mention, let's talk about that touchdown pass that Lawrence throws at the end of the first half that went through the safety's hands. So even if he doesn't pick that off, it should have at least been knocked down. So that's, I don't know. We'll see. I think Jacksonville, all in all, is the better team right now. But I think 7 points is high as heck. I am so sick of Los Angeles Lakers coverage. And as I'm saying it, ESPN's got a freaking clip of LeBron James and Anthony Davis right now on there. And they're breaking down all-star voting for the Lakers. They act like the Lakers have the best record in the league. Justin, I know you're not a big NBA fan. If the season started today, they're not in the playoffs. But yet they eat wall-to-wall coverage of the Lakers. It is insane.
I don't even think I could name a starting roster on any NBA team, buddy.
Right now, they have the 12th best record in the Western Conference. 10 get in because they did that phony baloney. I don't even remember what they call it now, but they expanded the playoffs where 10 in each conference get in. It started during COVID and they just extended it. But right now, they have 17 wins, 21 losses, but you would not know that if you turned on. It's not just ESPN, any of them on a regular basis. They think people care about the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to tell you who needs to be fired, and our six-pack is on the way. We'll be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on The Key in Braves Country HD.
If you're arrested for bribery, can't you just bribe your way out? I mean, you're a briber. That's what you do.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, living in an era of baseball where the impossible is unfolding right before our eyes.
Salvador Perez, the 2-2. Popped up, Sandoval in foul territory. Giants win! A World Series win for the San Francisco Giants for the 3rd time in the last 5 years. And their hero, Madison Bumgarner. The 1-2 again. Inside corner. The Royals, 2015 World Champion. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all.
But the game right now is at the plate.
Armchair.
Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Don't you understand? This pool is our bootstraps, and it's lifting us up into the middle class, dude.
Well, just accept the fact that you're white trash, all right? Take a look at yourself. You can't do backflips. You don't know karate. You're white trash.
Welcome back. Justin Waller and Matt McGee taking you all the way to the top of the hour. Joey Ariola is going to join us. Continue our NFL talk and, of course, our armchair awards. Let's go ahead and finish off some armchair awards here, Justin, and then we'll get into our six-pack NFL picks. Curious to see where you're going to go with this. I think it's the last one that I gave you. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But blank needs to be fired.
We've got one other one, but
okay. You're just going to have to remind me which one it is because evidently I didn't write it down correctly.
The Douchey Award makes your skin crawl.
I didn't jot. Okay,
that's a good one. So I hope you have one because I think you're going to like mine. But blank needs to be fired for. So I'm going to start this off with Marcell Ozuna needs to be fired for only being able to hit a woman and driving drunk. Both are which unacceptable, and you can't change my mind. End of story.
Yeah. That's
Thank you, AA. That was a horrible trade.
It's funny that you mentioned that. It's a horrible signing. It was a good trade.
Or excuse me, yeah. The extension was the horrible part.
Right. So let me pull this up of what, let me see. Here we go. So David O'Brien said this earlier for folks who can see the screen. People were talking about McCutchen and Duvall still being free agents, outfielders that the Braves can sign. And this is the athletic writer for the Atlanta Braves, and he said Duvall and McCutchen remain unsigned, but Braves still have Ozuna and will need to get him at bats in left field along with Rosario, since so many of the DH at bats are expected to go to Murphy and d'Arnaud. And anything that they would sign above that, because even if you trade Ozuna, he's not coming off the books because no one's going to pay. Right? So if you trade Ozuna, you're going to have to hope that someone gives you prospects because no one's going to pay. The other thing is Luplow, and that I didn't get that one copied to paste in as well, but Luplow, Jordan Luplow, he's going to be in the mix as well, taking at bats. And so the hope is you can get Ozuna straightened out and playing well, and somebody has an injury and they need an outfielder DH guy, and they can move him. That's what the hope is. The reality, we're stuck with Marcell Ozuna until the foreseeable future, unless they just absolutely decide to swallow it. And I mean, the best thing that could happen is he screws up again, and then you can actually get rid of him.
Hope nobody gets hurt.
But if he has any sense whatsoever, he ought to know by now 3 strikes and you're gone. So I'd say he's probably going to have himself locked in a room for the next 2 seasons so he can at least pull in what I think they owe him $33 million total.
Yeah, it's 16.5, something like that. So yeah, 33.
Yeah. My ought to be or needs to be fired, man. It is enough of the Ron Rivera era or error in Washington. You cannot continue to have Ron Rivera coach the Washington football team when he doesn't even realize, A, that his team was eliminated when they were eliminated when they lost. The fact that he didn't know that was dumbfounding. But the real reason why you want to get rid of him, he can't figure out that Carson Wentz is not an appropriate quarterback to be starting in the National Football League. They make a trade for him. Then after he gets in there, he's terrible. He gets hurt. They bring Heineke in. Heineke, his stats may not have been great, but Heineke was a decent quarterback. Got W's. And then they brought him in. I think we lost Justin for a second. And then they brought him back. And for whatever reason, and I do not understand the reasoning behind it, they went out there and bring Wentz back into the fold, put him in the starting position. Now, all of a sudden, they are eliminated, and now they're going to have Sam Howell start at quarterback. And the whole thing is just a joke at this point. Like, I just do not understand what in the world is going on with any of it. And it's time for them to move on and fire. They've got to get rid of him. They've got to get rid of Ron Rivera, and they need to move on. There's so many, look, people talk about moves that can be made and coaches you could go after, and talking about trying to some of the bigger names that are out there. And I know everyone would want Sean Payton. I just don't know if Sean Payton would want to go there. But I do know this. There is a team, or excuse me, there's a coach out there who I think would be a perfect fit, because he would bring an energy to that franchise. What about Jim Harbaugh for that? What about Jim Harbaugh? So, not sure what happened to Justin. Looks like we lost him for a second. We'll see if we can get him back. If not, Joey is on the way. But yeah, my needs to be fired has got to be Ron Rivera. And I was looking more of a guy that you could fire, because you can't really fire. I mean, I guess you could just release Marcell Ozuna. And I understand why Justin's saying that, and I understand where he's coming from. I just don't think they're ever going to do it. I've just absolutely given up on it. I've given up on the fact that they're going to do anything. By the way, breaking news, Texas fires men's basketball coach Chris Beard, and that after felony domestic violence. That is a big story in itself. Remember when they brought him in, they brought him in to clean up the program and whatnot. Now all of a sudden he's getting fired. See if I can get some news on this. But that is a wild story that Chris Beard is now fired. University of Texas, what it's saying here is Texas head coach Chris Beard was fired Thursday, less than 1 month after the school suspended him without pay following his arrest on a domestic family violence charge. Associate head coach Rodney Terry, who's been the acting coach, will remain in charge. But the main part of this story is University of Texas has parted ways with Chris Beard. This is a statement from the Longhorns. This has been a difficult situation that we've been diligently working through today. I informed Mr. Beard of our decision to terminate him immediately. Beard was arrested on December 12th after his fiancee, Randy True, told officers he choked her from behind, bit her, hit her. When the two got into an argument, Beard's attorney, Perry Minton, said at the time that Beard is 100% innocent of these charges. Something has had to have come about to go from he's 100% innocent to them firing him. I believe we just got Justin back. I'm adding him to the stream right now, so we'll see if he can actually rejoin us. I think he's having technical problems, but we'll see. I believe we have Justin. Justin, are you there? I think he's muted. He might need a second to get his. But yeah, if you're just joining us, Texas basketball coach Chris Beard has been fired. So, Justin, can you hear us? You're on mute, I believe. I think it's your actual mic itself, because it's not showing that you're on mute from the other thing. But yeah, that just came across here a few minutes ago, and obviously a big deal. Domestic family violence. And do we have you, Justin? I still can't hear you. So yeah, that is the word going on in college basketball right now, is that Chris Beard has been fired. If you can remember, like, they have struck out a number of times with these head basketball coaches at Texas. They just cannot get anything to stick. And now this Chris Beard incident, it's a bad look for Texas basketball.
Do we have audio now, Mac?
Yeah, we've got audio.
Well, I apologize for that little technical difficulty there, but
It
I'm
happens.
back.
And the reason why this is kind of big news because Chris Beard is from Marietta, Georgia. So people remember he was the head coach at Texas Tech. He took Texas Tech to the Final Four national championship game. And now he finds himself unemployed. So they must have found something on the accusation of domestic violence against his girlfriend. So there you have that. Well, let's go ahead and get our 6-pack in since we lost a few minutes. Justin, I've not made a pick yet. What is your first pick on the 6-pack?
Well, you alluded to it. So since we're in agreement, I will, even at today's spread, take Titans plus 6.5. I think this game is going to be a lot closer.
I'll take the same game, but I'm going a different direction. Tennessee, Jacksonville, the over-under, I believe, is still 40. Yes, 40. I'm going to take the over on the over-under. I do not believe this game is going to be low scoring. I think both teams are going to move the ball, and 40 seems extremely low, especially for a game that is of this magnitude, and it's going to be under the lights and national. And I believe we're going to get decent weather. I haven't seen anything here in Jacksonville that shows that the weather is going to be worse. So give me the over 40 number. I've already hit me a little bit of a teaser personally, where I took the Titans and the over because I just don't think Jacksonville beats them by 12.5 and the over is 30 something. I'm like, what did they do? Did they beat them 12-0? Like, what happened?
Agreed.
What is your next game?
Well, I'm going to take TCU plus 12.5. They beat Michigan, never trailed. Michigan boat raced Ohio State at home, on the road. And Georgia snuck one out against Ohio State. So in theory, TCU should be 12.5-point dogs. So I'm taking TCU plus 12.5 points.
So I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. Took them as my stupid underdog this week. I'm going to go ahead and double down and take the Raiders plus 10 on one of my 6-packs. I think there's a good chance that they beat KC. They lost by 1 point earlier in the year. But Stidham looked really good. And the Raiders are going to go out and try to beat Kansas City because they're Kansas City and they know they have something to lose. Not to mention the fact that now that the dust is settling after the Damar Hamlin situation, I think they're going to get added incentive when Bills Mafia is rooting them on to help. Because if the Raiders win, that would make the Bills-Patriots game a win and Buffalo gets a bye. So they haven't announced it yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to announce it within the next day or so that game is not going to be replayed. I'm really surprised they haven't. It's Thursday. Man, get off your cans. What is your next 6-pack?
Torn here, but I'm going to go pro. I'm going to take the Giants plus 14. I know Hurts might play, but I don't think they can risk his injury. And the Giants are playing to keep the Eagles from having the number 1 seed. So I think they'll keep it competitive. And I don't know that they win the game. I think the Eagles will pull it out, but I just don't see them beating them by 14.
Yeah, I like that one. If I was going to go Eagles, if you're an Eagle fan, I would be more likely to take the Eagles at the half, which is like minus 7.5, or even at the end of the first quarter, which I think is 4.5 or 3.5, because I think the Eagles will get out to an early lead, but I also feel like that once they have the game in hand, they're going to kind of put the brakes on. Here we go. We put our score up here. So yeah, I do like that, but I don't think they're going to cover 14. I'm with you on that. That's a big number against a division rival. And as soon as they can get Hurts out of the game, because it does sound like he's going to play, they're going to get him out of the game. They're not going to let him get banged up. The next thing you know, he can't play in 2
risk
weeks.
to take.
Exactly. So this line has gone down, so I'm even happier now. Give me the New York Football Jets on a pick'em in Miami against Skylar Thompson. They announced this morning that Mike White is going to play. I think the Jets go in with an incentive to beat the Dolphins to keep them out of the playoffs.
Especially with the
Yeah, I think we're losing you on audio again. What is your walk-off, sir? I think we lost you altogether. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, Joey will join us, and we'll get back into the Armchair Awards and talk some NFL Week 18, looking into the playoffs. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes here on, and we also have the Damar Hamlin doctor's press conference coming up here at the top of the hour as well. We want to make sure that people that missed it the first time get a chance to hear it the second time. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country on WQEE and Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream. Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, or all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
Shenyang, a performance that truly matters to every one of us, is coming to the Columbus River Center for the Performing Arts, January 17th, one night only. Shenyang brings 5,000 years of civilization live on stage through choreographed dance, music combining Western and Chinese instruments in an animated backdrop. Come and see it at least once in your lifetime. Tickets at shenyang.com/GA.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Here are some clips from today's press conference with the physicians caring for Damar Hamlin's health. We'll have more on this as the show goes on.
It just speaks really to the immediate recognition that there was something significantly and seriously wrong by the Bills medical staff. Team and I speak together. We cannot credit their team enough. There are often, unfortunately, there are injuries occasionally that happen on sports fields, be it football or others. But it is incredibly rare to have something be this serious that happens like that. And to be that quickly recognized, what they did was immediately marshal the emergency action plan, meaning the emergency medicine services. That prompted the airway physician, the emergency physician that was out on the field, to be at his bedside in less than a minute. He had a prompt recognition of loss of pulse, which gave him immediate bystander CPR, which, as many of you know, rarely, if ever, happens. And so the fact that Mr. Hamlin had immediate bystander CPR, in addition to prompt recognition of his arrhythmia, to get defibrillated and then back to the return of circulation very quickly, that speaks to that timeline that you were asking about, to get the return of spontaneous circulation with immediate bystander CPR that was performed well, all meeting the standard of what we would expect in that scenario, is what has led us to be able to discuss these good outcomes today.
I will second that. You know, the Bills training staff who was with them immediately recognized that this was not a run-of-the-mill injury and that they had a significant event on their hands, and immediately responded and got the emergency response team involved in his care. And really, this went as well as something like this could go under very challenging circumstances. And they did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Pritz, I just want to follow up on something you said that Damar spoke last night. Can you speak to that?
I can clarify. He did not speak. He was able to communicate in writing. And he is unable to speak with us yet, as he still has a breathing tube in, and we're still assisting him with ventilation. So when he was communicating with us last night and then again today, that's been in writing. And to paraphrase one of our partners, when he asked, "Did we win?" the answer is yes. Damar, you won. You've won the game of life, and that's probably the most important thing out of this. And we really need to keep him at the center of everything else that's going on, and we really want to ensure a good outcome for him.
One thing in that protocol that would not have been in place, whether it was equipment or might not have worked, or a personnel or so forth, what would that one thing have been that could have led to a more, tragic outcome? Because I think we're all realizing that the NFL does a lot of pre-planning for these kinds of situations. I'm just curious to get your take on that.
I'm not sure there is one thing. I think that really speaking and emphasizing to that team approach, that if you see those pictures in that video of the congregation of the team, you had Bills professionals, Bengals professionals, independent physicians, but we have all the right equipment. There's all the EMS equipment, airway equipment, advanced cardiac life support equipment. The ability to do CPR, the ability to defibrillate is all there and all spelled out in terms of accessibility. Speaking specifically to our team, we had several of my partners that were teammates, that were partners, that were helping to resuscitate Mr. Hamlin. And you have those scenarios where people know each other and they train together. There's not a lot of speaking that needs to happen. They know how to work. They know how to integrate, no different than when Dr. Pritz and I are working in the trauma bay that you see. And that really goes a long way to helping with that in terms of that overall management. But was there one thing, or is there one thing that, if absent, would have led to a poor outcome? I can't say that there was any one thing, because it really is the entire global spectrum of care from the minute he collapsed until the ongoing care he's receiving right now up in the ICU. We're focused on the right now, and he still has a little ways to go in terms of, he was not trached on the field. He was intubated on the field, had what I would deem a textbook resuscitation on the field, from, again, immediate bystander CPR, defibrillation, airway management, and then transport to the hospital. It's critical that we do that resuscitation at the scene of where a cardiac arrest is. That portends the best recovery. There was no trach or airway other than the endotracheal tube that he has. As for the long-term recovery, again, we're focused on the right now, and he still has a little ways to go in terms of liberation from the ventilator, and I think that's going to be our focus right now in terms of helping him to recover, liberate, continue to get stronger, and rehabilitate. But it is entirely too early to project into the future.
And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com @Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
They've given me less than 1 year to turn this place around. Forget about the way it used to be. This is not a damn democracy. We are in a state of emergency, and my word is law.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer.
Welcome back.
He's the all-American man.
Joining us.
Yeah, the armchair
Oh, Joey, let me get our Lots picture off there. I don't know if I'm still sharing that. Welcoming onto the show, Mr. Joey Ariola. Joey, how are you today?
Doing good. Definitely liked hearing that update. I appreciate you sharing it, because it just gives you, the full actual people dealing with the situation. And it's crazy how we're getting updates from the hospital, but for sure needed. And just, it seems like we're slowly but surely getting to better news each day. So doing good.
Yeah, I was happy to hear it, and I was scrambling to try to get all that audio together. I couldn't get the whole thing together, but the gist of it, of what you heard, I mean, the clip I put together is over 5 minutes. So, but the gist of it is Damar Hamlin's doing much better. He is responding. He is actually answering and communicating via a notepad, and it's because the breathing tube is down his throat, so they don't want him to try and speak. But all in all, as the doctor said, we talked about this last hour, they said the lights are on and he's home, and that's a big deal because there was a lot of fear that there would be severe brain damage, and it doesn't appear that that's the case at this moment. And it just tells you what kind of teammate he is when the first question he's asked when he comes out of his coma was, did we win the game? He did not realize that he'd been out for 2 days. So, and I'm sure he had no clue that the entire nation was on his side and pulling for him. So
truly a team player right there.
But can you imagine something similar like that happening to you, and you wake up to find out that the entire nation's behind you? Like, that's got to make, it's got to bring. I know while it's going on, it's bringing a tear to all of his family's eyes. Can you imagine seeing his response when they explained to him, "Hey, the entire country is behind you"?
And I'm sure once he looks at that, toy fundraiser he has for the kids and everything, he's going to even be more mind blowing how much people.
Right. I'm sure that's one of those things where you have to slowly give him the information as you go, because you don't want to put him in any kind of shock. But yeah, it's a wild scene. It looks like he's going to be okay, thankfully. All of us feared the worst, hope for the best, and it looks like the best is yet to come for Damar Hamlin. Yes, some of those dumb questions that some of the reporters mentioned that I talked about in the last hour were just mind-blowing. But all in all, it was a really good press conference, and they chose wisely on the doctors that they put in front of that panel to answer the questions, because some of the questions they got were really goofy, and some of them were really good. But regardless, the physicians did a great job of answering and also giving correct praise to. It wasn't like they did it by themselves. The Buffalo and Cincinnati NFL doctors and physicians and medical staff really helped him get to where he was, to get him to the hospital so that he was able to recover. So great job by all, and can't say enough about it. We're going to try to switch gears here a little bit if it's possible, and bring a little levity to your day. And we've been doing the Armchair Awards, and we do this every year about this time. I was going to try to do it last week at the end of the year, but there was so much football going on, it was just impossible to squeeze it in. So I'm going to have to get Justin's answer. So the question that he brought up, I'm going to have to get Justin's answer. I'm going to text him. So we'll skip that one for a second. But for you, Joey, I think it starts off with, where do you get off? And this is basically someone or something that you're mad at in the world of sports.
Yeah, and, I debated a few. I'm going to have to keep it with my favorite team, though, and that being the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm going to have to say it about Jim Irsay. Look, before the season, it's hard to believe now, a lot of people, had a decent amount of faith that this Colts team could compete for the division. And then you have Jim Irsay going up saying we're going to win a couple of championships this decade, when if you look at where the team is and how many divisions they've won since 2015, it would be 0 on the dot. So that is just sad within itself. And, he's just been spewing a lot of stuff over the past year. Now, does he a great person when it comes to foundations, helping people out, doing good things? Of course he is. But this year, similar to his father when he owned the Colts and the Baltimore Colts going back in the day, he got a little bit more involved. He got a little bit more hands-on, and he made predictions that simply were not possible yet, installed faith in the fan base. So overall, I'm very upset where my team's at directionally. Thought it would be different to this point. And really, it starts from the top in Jim Irsay. People could blame coaches, GMs, but I get off on Jim Irsay doing a terrible job to me in the 2023 era of making false hope predictions and not backing them up. And he's the one who fired these people. He's the one who puts them in place. Shame on you. And it starts with him going back to 2022 and blaming it all on Carson Wentz when there was a lot more issues than that.
So my guy, I mean, first of all, I got to rib you a little bit, because if we were just doing it off of what's happened the last couple of days, Pat McAfee's up there at the top, because the goofy thing where he goes on a tirade mad because Dan Campbell and the Lions don't give him an interview. And it's funny. I heard someone say it perfectly earlier today. They said he quickly came back and apologized, and he apologized because he realized he made his money off of making people think he's the man of the people, and he didn't come off sounding like that when he I don't know if you heard it or not, but he had a tirade where he was complaining about the Lions not giving him an interview, kind of like, you know who I am kind of thing. But that one's a little lighthearted. The real one that I'm going to give out is Kyrie Irving. I mean, this guy, and you could probably rinse and repeat this every single year. That's the thing with Kyrie Irving. Every single year, Kyrie Irving does something, and you're like, where do you get off? And Kyrie Irving, once again, goes out. Not only does he give incredibly stupid comments, doubles down on them, and doesn't think he's done anything wrong. But then he starts trying to gas everyone up to support him. You got idiots like Kanye West. I mean, pretty much you can link that entire chain together, and that would be my where do you get off of the year. But Kyrie Irving is right there at the top. By the way, we didn't get a chance to get into this because we lost connection with Justin, but his douchey guy of the year, he tells me, is Urban Meyer, and he says basically he just doesn't want to see him. He doesn't want to see him on the big noon kickoff, and I have to say that. Now my douchey guy of the year is LeBron James, because just like Kyrie Irving, it doesn't matter what you do, what you say. You turn around and they're talking about something stupid that he said or done. And if y'all were listening last hour and you saw the award we gave away to I Am So Sick Of award, and I mentioned the LA Lakers during the break, they said, coming up on ESPN, the Lakers beat the Heat without LeBron. They've got 17 wins and 21 losses. Who gives a rat's behind it, what he's done? What did he do? They won a meaningless regular season basketball game that nobody watched.
You get a gold star.
Yeah. I mean, they try to go out of their way. There's so many good stories right now in the NBA, and they will still squeeze every little bit of ounce out of, well, what are the Lakers doing? What are the Lakers doing? And it's not like they do that for every team that's in a big market. When they were terrible, I don't remember a lot of Celtics coverage. Heck, I don't see a lot of Celtics coverage now when they're one of the best teams in the league. When the Bulls aren't any good, I don't see a lot of Chicago Bulls coverage. They don't do the Knicks. I don't turn around every 2 seconds and have to see the New York Knicks because they're in New York City.
And Charles Barkley exactly agreed with you a few weeks ago on TNT show, saying, listen, and I know he has a lot of funny, weird comments, but he's like, we talk about the Lakers, good, bad, or indifferent. We're not sitting here talking about the Timberwolves when they have 15 wins or something. So just more to your point.
Yeah. I mean, I actually forgot about that. I should have put that in my notes. But yeah, it's the fact that I don't understand. I guess it's because it's Los Angeles, and they think that makes them a big deal. Heck, the Clippers are more relevant right now. But if you're just going to talk about a team because they're in a big market, how come they never talk about the Knicks? That's all I'm saying. They never talk about the Boston Celtics. It's very rare. They have to be playing that night for them to bring it up. Anyways. The Bleeding Ears Award. And this is the worst broadcaster. It doesn't have to be a play-by-play. It could be someone who's on a show that you don't like. Whatever. The Bleeding Ears Award. Who is your worst broadcaster of the year?
Do you want me to give my athlete who I'm mad at too at the same time, or just go with the bleeding ear?
Did you not give the athlete? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Mine's just really quick. Mine's just Carlos Correa. I'm just, especially everything in the last month. I'm so down. I'm sick of hearing about him. I don't want to know where he goes. I don't care if he's, whatever happens, it happens. But it's just
worst thing that could happen in the world of sports is Carlos Correa signs with the Lakers.
Amen to that.
Never get rid of it.
So I just wanted to get that one up. But my bleeding ear award goes to somebody me and my buddy talk about often when they're on the NFL call, and that is Mark Sanchez. Every time he does a game that I'm watching or have on the live TV, I don't know if they put him up because they maybe think from one side he has the pretty face, but my goodness, nothing great ever comes out of his mouth when it comes to commentating. I think he was on the Bills-Dolphins call a couple of weeks ago on Saturday night, and I literally pretty much muted my TV and just enjoyed the cinematic value, as I just don't think he brings much value, and I'm giving him my bleeding ears commentator of the year.
Where is he right now? Because I don't run into him as much.
He's on Fox, like the 4th or 5th crew all the way down on Fox.
So he's currently doing games?
Yes, he does the color commentating for Fox games.
NFL or?
Yep, NFL.
I don't know why I haven't ran into him much. It must just randomly just be games that I'm not watching. But
well, that's a good thing.
I remember seeing him. Wasn't he on the Big Ten show before this last year?
That is correct. That's where he had his first give, and this is his first year on the Fox Games crew.
Now I'll tell you what. If I had to choose between one or the other, I'd much rather listen to him than Urban Meyer. Like I don't know. I'm with Justin. That didn't even come into my thought process. But I don't understand why we have to still look at Urban Meyer. He's slimeball. He doesn't have a very good personality, so it's not like I really care about what he's got to say, right? He's not entertaining. Like I'm not a big McAfee fan, but the guy is entertaining. I get that part of it.
Hey, thanks.
Right? He's kind of like WWE. Like he's garbage, but I get the allure. Like I don't understand how someone could watch pro wrestling, but I do get the allure. I understand how they could get tricked into it. I just don't know how they could do it long term. What? Someone else is getting mayonnaise dumped on them? What is this about? I'll have to figure this out. By the way, if you're just joining us, the breaking news in the world of sports is Chris Beard has been fired from Texas, and all signs point positive for Damar Hamlin. So where were we at? Worst broadcaster of the year. You know what? Let's take that quick break because I won't be able to finish this thought. So we'll be back in a flash. This is about 90 seconds or as Chuck Woolery say, back in do. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country. Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at our Dragons RiverDragonsMerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at RDragonsMerch.com. That's the letter R, DragonsMerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
All right, the Armchair Awards, we're back. So we were in the middle of the Bleeding Air Awards. And I was really close to just renaming this award. And maybe we will going forward. We'll just call it the Beth Mallins Award. So I don't think I need to mention her every single time, but I feel like I've done it so many times. We're going to rename the Bleeding Ears Beth Mallins Award, somewhere in that area. I guess we'll just call it the Beth Mallins Award going forward. If you don't know that she's the worst there is, well, I don't know what to tell you about that one. Oh my word! So I figured it would just be too redundant and repetitive to constantly name her. So you went with Mark Sanchez, and by the way, as soon as you start mentioning guys like that, I start thinking of like Aqib Talib and whatnot. That are just brutal. But the guy that I went with, because he just drives me nuts, and maybe it's because I watch too much MLB Network during the off season, and that's probably why I think a lot of people will not even fathom that this guy could win the award. But Matt Vasgersian, he is just absolutely brutal. If you watch that morning show that they do, it's a really good show when they don't allow him to be him. When he's allowed to be him, he's constantly playing with the sound machine. They'll be in the middle of like a breaking story. They'll be talking to someone like John Heyman that, hey, we just got breaking news about, heck, I guess the Carlos Correa signing, right? And Heyman will be in the middle of his spiel on what happened or what they think's about to happen. And he's got to start hitting buttons and start hitting things to, and their little quotes and whatnot from earlier telecasts that he just thinks are so funny. And he's basically just like a dork that they have let just go run amok during the off season. So I can't stand him anymore. I don't even watch the show anymore because of him. I cannot wait till the season comes because he goes away. He goes and does his ESPN play-by-play games, and I don't have to watch that because if there is a game on that I care about, I mute it. I'm dang sure not listening to A-Rod. And so Matt Vasgersian wins it this time for me over A-Rod because A-Rod at least takes a break for 4 months. All right, and rant. Best show of the year. We're calling this the Here's Johnny. Best show of the year. What is your favorite sports show? Doesn't necessarily have to be a TV show. It could be a podcast. It could be a television show. Whatever.
Yeah, and I'm pretty strong and passionate about this one, and I bring it to the NBA and inside the NBA on TNT with Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck and the boys. Listen, if you ever just want to have a good time and laugh and also get your NBA knowledge, they're straight up on this show. To me, they've been around a long time, first off. But second off on that, they're each smart in their own way, obviously. We have Hall of Famers on the set, a lot of knowledge led by Ernie, there's great people behind the scenes. I just think these are guys that your everyday person can kind of catch on to. And if you don't enjoy basketball or don't watch it often, try turn on TNT on a Thursday now that football's over, and you'll get a good laugh out of Chuck and the boys. It's always a good time to me.
Yeah, he's the one guy that's missing a podcast, right? Like everybody's got a podcast, and nobody listens to a podcast, but he deserves a podcast.
Absolutely.
It's probably in his contract that we don't want you doing a podcast because then no one's going to watch NBA on TNT, right?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Daily Wager. If you haven't watched it before, Now look, when football season's not around, it's a little rough. But during football season, it's by far my favorite ESPN show. It's not even close because all they do is talk the lines, and they talk why they're talking the lines and why and look, it's not all analytical. Hey, so and so is 9-6-1 in the they don't do that. And a lot of these gambling shows do that. They just go in. A lot of them are just gut feels, and they're fans, and you can tell that they're real gamblers. And they're saying, "This is why I want to take." Well, for instance, I'm taking the Jaguars -6.5 this weekend, and this is why I'm doing it. So I can't get enough of that show every time. I'll tell you a close second. I just like a lot of these shows that talk the lines. If you ever get a chance to watch VSiN, Lombardi Line's really good as well. Daily Wager is a little more entertaining.
I like Daily Wager. I never heard of the other one.
Lombardi Line comes on, I think, mid-morning. So you might have to record it, but it comes on VSiN. And I know a lot of people don't get VSiN, but you can. I just found out recently you can listen to them for free in the mornings. I don't think there's any way to catch the recording. But anyways, really good show, and they usually have pretty good guests on there as well. Okay, next one up. So we talked about the Here's Johnny, the best show of the year. What is the worst show of the year?
Oh man, I'm between two, so it made it tough. But because one of mine plays into another question you'll ask later, I'm going to go with the morning show on ESPN 1000 that has Keyshawn Johnson, Max Kellerman, and Jay Williams. Just ever since, Mike and Mike left, and a lot of people might not have liked them, but I always enjoyed them when I was growing up. And to see where we landed at with these three knuckleheads, as Charles Barkley says, these three guys are just goofballs. And I'm not big on it. I stopped listening to ESPN 1000. In fact, in the morning, I'll podcast it up, listen to, our show here from the day before or what might have you. But ESPN 1000, whatever you call the three stooges of Kellerman, Williams, and Johnson.
I think they broke them up, from my understanding.
They were on this morning.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they were on this morning.
They said they were breaking them up and that they were adding someone who. Oh, wait a minute. You said Max Kellerman, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. They broke up whoever they had before. I couldn't watch it. I'm with you. It's absolutely, and they didn't even have Kellerman. And once they added Kellerman, I was like, do you think it's bad now? I'm not listening to that. So who is it now? Jay Williams, Keyshawn, and Kellerman?
Correct. And I think Kellerman replaced like Dari Noka or something, a boring, dry fella.
Dari Noka was the guy that was hosting before. They got rid of him, and I'm like, I mean, I don't think he upgraded. I really don't. I'm not a big Dari Noka person, but I wouldn't hear him and go, I got to change the channel. It was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I see Max Kellerman.
Next.
I cannot find the power source on my TV fast enough to unplug it. My worst show of the year, and it's because they made the move that I don't think they should have made. I know he made the choice, but when Matthew Berry left Fantasy Football Now, that show is now unwatchable. And I used to watch it every single Sunday morning. Even when we were doing shows, I would still have it on. Even if I couldn't hear the whole thing, I would have it on. It is now unlistenable. There's no one left on that show that I respect any of their fantasy football opinions, realistically.
I was going to ask who's even on it.
What's that?
I was going to ask who's even on that show anymore.
I still like Stefania Bell, but she's got to have a stronger cast. Field Yates, I can take him or leave him, but he's kind of a dud. He can't carry a show. He doesn't have that. He's too proper and too snore-filled for me to listen to him. Not to mention, I think he's always wrong about fantasy football. Like every time he says something, like 2 hours later, I'm like, he said start that guy. That guy's got 3 yards. So
if you're getting things wrong,
yeah. But and then the other one is I don't even know his real name, the Secret Squirrel guy, and I think they just got sucked into him because he's still under contract. He'll be gone by next year. And He's kind of like the Marcelo Zuna of television. They're just gonna have to eat his contract. They're just gonna go, whatever, man. You gotta go.
What is his name? Mike Clay?
No. Mike Clay I actually like.
Or Daniel Dopp?
Yes, that guy.
Oh,
he's brutal.
I had to look it up.
He's the reason why Matthew Berry's show stunk. The directional half-hour daily show that they did during the year that it got such poor ratings they wouldn't even put it on ESPN. They only put it on the ESPN Plus, and you would turn it on there and they'd be talking to puppets and making really corny, dry jokes, and it was just awful. But yeah, that gets my very, very close second, and it's not. I don't hate it. It's just dull. Have you ever tried to watch the ESPN NFL Countdown show? Oof! The current one, since now that Chris Berman doesn't do it anymore. Oh, I
can't watch.
It is absolutely brutal. That used to be my go-to. I used to watch it years and years and years ago. I used to start my Sunday mornings watching the ESPN show, and they got rid of. I don't know what made them think it was a good idea to get rid of Boomer Esiason. Not Boomer Esiason. Boomer.
Chris Berman.
Chris Berman, excuse me. To get rid of him, they still have him do the highlights at the end of the day. They got rid of him, and they did not bring an actual. I mean, when it was him and it was Tom Jackson, it was fun.
Yes.
Now I can't even tell you who's. I haven't watched it in years, but the fantasy football show took such a big dive for me that I'm out. And I'll be honest, Matthew Berry's show on Peacock is not much better because he's the only one worth watching on that show. They got some weird dude that doesn't appear like he knows anything about football sitting next to him. I think he's from Australia and he claims to be a Jaguars fan. I'm like, how did that happen? And then they got Michael Smith, who he's okay, but they need that third component, someone who's a very strong personality that can rock it, right? All right, what's our next one? Golden Mike Award. So let's make things nice and let's end things on eating everyone to death.
Put the Grinch away.
Who is your golden Mike of the year? That's a play-by-play or a television person, whatever. World of sports.
Yeah, again, I had a couple of tough choices, but I'm going to go with Adam Amin. I think locally for the Chicago Bulls, he does them year-round, has done a good job, but he also does the NFL on Fox games, and I think he brings – there's not many voices to me anymore who are newer that are taking over for the older generation that are becoming stars and, people I love to listen to. But if you give Adam Amin a shot, he really knows his information, and on top of that, he's a pretty exciting figure on NFL Fox football games. For most, obviously, can't listen to Bulls, but I just think he does a good job of bringing, a little bit of youth, a little bit of spunk into it without going fully over the top like a Tony Romo.
I wish I knew who you're referring to. I have no idea who you're talking about.
Well, my other one was Kevin Harlan. You know him greatly, so that would have been my other one.
Okay, I can see Kevin Harlan, but Adam
Amin. He does the Fox games. He does it with Mark Schlereth on Fox. They do the Fox football games on Sunday.
Are you saying Adam and me?
Adam Amin. It's hard. It's Amin. Amin is his last name.
I might actually know him.
Yeah, he does it with Mark Schlereth.
I recognize him. I don't necessarily know him, but yes, I recognize him. I thought you were saying Adam and Me. I thought it was the name of a show.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Well, I'm going to give mine to Melanie Newman. Not only does she do a great job on the play-by-play when she does Orioles, and then she just started doing, I think it's Apple TV, that she was doing games this year. But I just recently started seeing her. I don't know if it's a fill-in or not, but she was on MLB Network quite a bit for the last month or so. Great job on MLB tonight. I'm normally going to go with a baseball person, and she comes off as a very knowledgeable baseball fan, very professional. I enjoy all the broadcasts, so I'm going to go with Melanie. And I know that might be a little obscure. Some people may not know who she is, but she's very, very good. There's so many of them out there that are really talented, but I just feel like it drives me nuts when I rarely see her on MLB Network, but yet Matt Vasgersian is splattered all across there constantly.
It's like, give it to somebody else.
Give her a rest, Best. We'll put this one in together because it kind of works the same way. Who do you want to get rid of in the world of broadcasting? Give me a person.
Oh, it's not even close to me after the past few days, and I'm giving it to Mr. Skip Bayless. Listen, now as a kid, I followed a lot of his journey, enjoy his show. I understand what he's doing and all that. But lately, to me, it's just turned into more stupidity than just trying to, take the other side. And also his comments the other day, even though I'm not here to argue them with the Damar Hamlin situation, sometimes he just tweets and always wants to be the first voice. He couldn't even let Shannon Sharp, who I also think is a bozo, don't get me wrong, say a full statement the other day before he opened his mouth, because his word's always more important than – Go ahead.
And maybe I'm way off base. But does the whole thing not seem staged? Because it sems staged to me.
There's been a lot of
Bayless's response, but then Shannon Sharp not coming to work, and then their little. It felt like a fake argument the next day. It seems staged.
A few of my group chats were actually talking about that exact same thing. So, and if that is true, and that's the point, that's even way worse to me than not doing so. So shame on Skip Bayless. Mute him, puke him. I'm disgusted. I'm out of here with him.
So I had a couple of them written down, but you went ahead and convinced me to go with who I'm going to go with. I've got A-Rod written down, but that's been beaten to death. Heather Dinich. I really want to go with her, but I'd say a lot of people don't know who she is. Are you familiar with who she is?
I am not.
So she's the ESPN college football analyst that always comes on during when they I guarantee you've seen her when they start debating who's number one or who's in the top four.
Okay.
And she never has in what I would call an informed opinion. It always seems like she just goes with the hype, right? And so I could see her still arguing that TCU didn't belong in the Final Four, that Alabama should have been there.
Oh.
Even after TCU winning, I guarantee that's her take.
Jeez.
But the winner I'm going to give to is Max Kellerman, because I can't with this guy anymore. I just can't. And I forgot they put him on the morning show. I do remember seeing that press release, but you know that show has gotten so bad that they don't. So I would be more aware that they do that, but they no longer televise it. So they used to televise the morning show when it was Mike and Mike. And then they tried doing it when it was Mike Golick, and I don't remember the guy.
Trey Wingo, was it?
Yeah, Golick and Wingo. And Golick and Wingo got such bad ratings that they fired both of them. And which was really a shame, because I felt like the Golick is really good and they just need to find a good person to go with them, right? A good co-host. I think he'd be money. But you get past that, they are constantly preempted. Now I'm seeing that tomorrow they actually put it on from 6 to 8, but I guess that's because they got nothing else to put on. And then it gets preempted by SportsCenter at 8:00. And it used to run 6 to 10, 6 to 10, 6 to 10, and now they're being constantly preempted. If anything comes on, reruns of bocce ball, they're going to take them off the air.
Yeah, and I do remember watching on ESPN2 Mike and Mike back in the day, and that was actually enjoyable if you were home to get a little view of what's going on.
Well, that's how you knew about it, right? Like that's how,
right? Yeah,
that was before ESPN Radio, was accessible everywhere. I can't listen to ESPN Radio because I just feel like it's the same garbage that they constantly throw at you on the television screen. So you're going to flip over there. I guarantee you right now they're talking about the LA Lakers. Like I guarantee it. But yeah, Kellerman, man, I don't know how long his contract is for, but give him that's a.
I hope he's not like the next Skip Bayless, where we get him for the next 40 years.
I don't see how. Like at least Skip gets viewers. I'm not a Skip
He
Bayless
does.
fan. I've never really been a Skip Bayless fan. When it was him and
Woody Page?
No, him and
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. It would be entertaining, but it really would depend on what the topic was. I have to give Stephen A. credit. Yesterday I saw a video where he was being asked, it wasn't on the show, I think he was in the makeup chair or whatever, and they were asking him about his take on what Skip said, and this could have been a perfect opportunity for him to throw Skip under the bus. And he basically said, look, man, I'm of all people not gonna put someone down for what they said. And basically what he said at the gist of it was, he knows Skip, he's known for a long time, Skip's a good guy, but he may have said the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so that was the gist of it. And I've got to give him credit, because when I saw the video come up, I'm like, oh, what is he going to do? Is he going to go with some tirade and tell him?
Usually people take the low road in those situations.
What's Marcellus Wiley doing now? He's over there, trying to ruffle the feathers. You see he's putting out videos where he's saying, oh, they're about to end the show. I guess he's trying to find a way to slide in and be someone's co-host. But I'm like, and don't get me wrong, I like Marcellus Wiley, but I was like, dude, man, you're above that. Don't do that. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up the awards and get the stupid underdog picks and the locks. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD.
You gave birth in a tub? Yeah, it's a really nice transition from womb to world, kind of like a big womb.
So you're in the tub with everything?
Oh, yeah, the afterbirth floats, yeah.
Must be like the tide at Omaha Beach.
Are you listening to yourself? I always listen to myself. It's one of the great joys of my life.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio covers the whole SEC the whole season long.
Dobbs heaves it. They're bunched up in the end zone. It's tipped up. It's caught. It is caught. Jawan Jennings.
Just the start of things. First quarter at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville as Walker sneaks to the right. Gets outside. The 35. Look out. He's past midfield and he's got a blocker. Cuts to the inside. Herschel Walker. There he goes again.
Straight up the middle. Touchdown. Delayed reaction, but Tebow got in. Oh, jump pass. How about that? Oh, my gosh. That looks like 1955. Holy cow. Are you kidding me?
Armchair.
SEC! SEC!
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League. And the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM. And simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players hit the field, and every man feels like a boy, and every wife could kill. He's been
Welcome back.
running hot, running cold, and 30 friends are
Braves
on
Country,
board. That's
giving
all
out the
the
Armchair Awards. We're down to the last few here today.
He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American man.
We got the I Hate This Team Award, Bust 'em Up Award. The team you want to see just dismantle because you're tired of watching them be good, or you're afraid that they might get good. So I'll throw that to you, Joey. Who is your Bust 'em Up Award?
I'm going to have to go with the St. Louis Cardinals, being a Cubs fan here, Bust Them Up Award, because, look, this team usually has a history of always being in the playoff chase, and now I can't stand them even more that they took one of my favorite players in Wilson Contreras and stuck him behind the plate after, oh, no big deal, Yadier Molina, you might have heard of him, got out of there. So it's just a double hit to the spine, I feel like, for being a Cardinals hater this year.
I think I'm going to have to go with the Philadelphia Phillies. And I know they fell short of the World Series, but man, they just added Trey Turner. And this team scares me on how good they could be if they put it all together. I still feel like the Braves are the better team, but that's not going to matter in the playoffs, as we saw. It really comes down to who gets hot, and that offense is absolutely loaded. And if there's one team that I fear them more than I do the New York Mets in the National League going into 2023. I fear them more than I fear the Dodgers. I believe the Dodgers. I never, all the prognosticators will be putting the Dodgers in the World Series, etc. I never put them in the World Series because I never think they have any pitching. And they don't have any pitching this year. They didn't add anything this year. I just, man, break up the freaking Phillies before it gets ugly, before they go out and win the series. What is your, I think it's the last one we have, the most overhyped award, the team that you always hear about in the offseason. They're going to be this, they're going to be that, and then you get there and you're like, flat on the back.
Well, some people might not agree with this team I'm about to give, but they always have playoff expectations in the National Football League, and they never come up for being on all the sports shows, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. From as much as we hear from Jerry Jones, as much as we have to turn on the TV and hear about Dak Prescott, what's going on with Dallas, we always can count on one thing. They're going to get to the playoffs, and they're going to choke before the NFC Championship game. Whether that's in round one or that's in the divisional round, you just know that the Dallas Cowboys are going to find a way to choke. And when they do it this time, Mike McCarthy will be their scapegoat on this season. So I'm just sick of hearing an overhyped Dallas Cowboys team.
With that being said,
sorry.
Do you think they're going to have a chance to actually make a run in the world into the Super Bowl?
Only if they could somehow get that 1 seed, which I don't believe is going to happen. The Eagles are going to clean up against a Giants team that might not play all their starters the entire game. So I say no. They're going down again, and we'll stick to that standard.
Now, recent memory, I would have to probably argue that Texas A&M is usually most overhyped. But all in all, year in and year out, we have to hear down here how the Miami Hurricanes are back. They're back, baby. They're back. This year, some prognosticators had them ranked up in the top 10 going into this year. They're never back. So I have to go with the Hurricanes. They get it this year.
Sorry, Brian.
Looking at the preseason rankings of this past year, it is hard to believe that I forgot Texas A&M started number 5 in the country. So they get a really close number 2. And now that Lincoln Riley's there, I guarantee you USC will start getting that same thing. Right?
Yep, definitely.
Going in, I guarantee you, for the next several years, the Southern Cal Trojans are going to be ranked top 5 every single year. And every single year, we're going to get, man, where are they? What happened? But the 2022 Overhype Award goes to the Miami Hurricanes.
Amen. Take that.
Sorry, man. If I'm lying, I'm lying, man. It's true.
That's too good.
Go ahead and get into.
Brian gives the ... Oh, that is too rich.
He knows. He knows, man.
He didn't argue it. Notice that.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the locks and the stupid underdog picks. Let you already know which ones are taken on the stupid underdog picks. Las Vegas and TCU have been taken. And on the locks, just Buffalo minus 7.5.
And the lock's just Buffalo. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done my lock yet. I gave my stupid underdog when I was talking to Doug. I kind of let it slip out. So, where are you going on your stupid underdog pick this week?
I'm a stupid underdog pick. I'm going to take it to the National Football League, and I'm going to go with the Commanders. They got a home game this week, And, you know, they're getting a touchdown, I believe is the last time I looked on BetUS. So I'm looking right now to confirm that. But, you know, they got to play a Dallas Cowboys team who I just came at. So why not keep that mojo going and being a, you know, Dallas Cowboy hater and take the Commanders +7 that is confirmed.
I'm interested to see what Sam Howell can do on the field on Sunday. I don't know if they can win, but Washington has played pretty good close football with teams with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke at quarterback. I can't imagine it's going to be much worse.
Right?
So
Carson Wentz had the worst quarterback rating in the last year and a half last week.
Carson Wentz, man, how does it? I mean, we gave out awards first hour, and I gave out the guy that needs to be fired, and to me, it's Ron Rivera.
Without question, we talked about that the other day. You're spot on.
I don't see how he could survive. Are they going to get that team sold by the combines, or at least the direction that they know they're going in? Because the problem is that team's in flux, and Rivera may not get fired.
Maybe he just resigned. Maybe he just gets so sick of the ownership he resigned. No, you never leave an NFL job. There's only 32 of them. But what a joke from the top down in that organization, from Snyder on. It's just a complete mess over there.
Yeah, complete and utter mess. What is your lock of the week?
My lock of the week, I'm actually going to go to the NBA here on a game that's going on tonight. You know, you're not going to hear that the Celtics are struggling much right now. They've lost a couple of games in a row. Dallas Mavericks have won 7 games in a row and are on their home floor, also getting 3 points. Luka Doncic has had 50-point games in 3 of the last 6 now, and it's just been absolutely on fire. Again, Boston's not going to be down too much, so I'm going to take the Mavericks +3 on their home court, because at the end of the day, Boston will get right back on their win streak. So I'm hoping this losing streak continues for one more game. Take Dallas and the points at home.
I think Boston is going to win tonight. So
I hope it's a good game.
I hate to break that, but I do not, because I took Boston on the money line. So
sorry.
I hate to break the bubble, but it makes me feel better that you did not take them, because you have a losing record this year. So that makes me feel a lot better.
Hey, my locks you had up there 8-8. I'm 500.
Are you 8-8 now?
Yeah, I was on at least the homepage you shared. I was.
It'll be 8-9 tomorrow morning.
Why do you have first McAfee, now this? Oh man.
If I'm going to give, well, I already took Boston on the money line earlier today on Twitter, but if I'm going to give you one, man, now they're getting a point. Give me the Jets +1.
Ooh.
Jets are getting 1. I'm starting to wonder what is making that line move so much. Maybe I missed something. I can't imagine Teddy Two Gloves is going to play.
And even if he does play, could he throw the football 20 yards?
Nah, I kind of figured that not only is he not going to play, there's no way they're putting Tua back out there, is there?
Oh, no chance.
Making the line move. The line has moved 2 points since this morning. And I don't see anything, so I don't know. There just must be some money coming in on it. By the way, it looks like all the Titans are coming in healthy. Jeffrey Simmons, Derrick Henry are not on the injury report. Trayvon Walker of the Jaguars is still listed as questionable. Trevor Lawrence is still listed as questionable.
I'll tell you, right, the spread right now on BetUS is 7 points. I would take the +7 and the Titans all day. This team was 7-3. Mike Vrabel team's going to be ready for this game. I don't think they lose by more than 7.
Yeah, so Tua wasn't even seen at practice today, so he's not playing. And from my understanding, there's no way that Teddy Bridgewater is going to play. He's got a dislocated finger in his throwing hand.
No.
The swelling is going to be too much. It's going to be Skylar Thompson who, let's be honest, is just a glorified wide receiver behind center. And unless it's changed, this morning they said that Mike White's going to start for the Jets. Yeah, I feel really good about that play.
The Dolphins, what a shame after winning. It started 8-3. Now it's 5 in a row. Ugh.
The Jets, underdogs to the Fish, who are walking wounded. I don't see it. I don't care that it is in Miami. The Jets are going to want to ruin their season. That's why I think that we've got a very, very good chance of the Pittsburgh Steelers sneaking into the playoffs.
Unbelievable.
Because if the Patriots lose to the Bills, which I think they will, because I think the Bills are going to be fired up no matter what happens with Kansas City. The Jets beat Miami and Pittsburgh wins, the Steelers slip into the playoffs. And what happens if the Steelers lose as well, but the Titans beat the Jaguars? The Jaguars get in as the 7th seed. Wouldn't that be the ultimate irony that the AFC South gets 2 teams in the playoffs?
Yeah. God bless the AFC South.
And NFL will be trying to find a way to make those two play each other the first round. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Yeah, just, you started the show great. Halfway through, I should say, when I came out with the Damar Hamlin news. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm sure now in the next couple of days, we'll get a plan for what the NFL is going to do. I'm looking forward to that. It seems as there's some options on the table. So I'm going to get ready and locked in because your team might be not good. And your team might be in the playoffs, but we're 1 week away from wild card weekend.
All right, my walk-off for the day is we'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 5. We're going to give out some more armchair awards, and we're going to be doing cool games tomorrow. We're going to be doing stupid underdogs. We're going to be doing locks. Great news on Damar Hamlin. Great to see that. And go Celtics, baby. Take down those Mavericks.
Luka!
Give Joey a losing record again. It's a thing.
I'm mediocre.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, sports fans, the Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family, have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395, or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to craftsmanship.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Hey sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines 2 of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infidium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, sports fans, the Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and youtube.com